life is like a movie, you know? It's just a movie, it's just a game. And you're the director. What do you want your movie to be? What do you want it to be? It's like it's almost like that. A movie, or I equate it also to a video game, yeah? And you asked me what yesterday, what happens when you die, what's it about and everything. I think there's levels to it, you know? In a video game, you want to get to the next level, you got to collect so many points, right? Or whatever. And you got to learn the cheats, raise your energy level to move to the next life. Otherwise, you just keep getting recycled back here. That's what I believe. Still things I'd like to do, but I don't particularly want to come back here and do this whole thing again.
So you got to get to the higher level.
That's my goal. Get out of here.
I think we all need to get to the higher level. Just like in Casavale, you want to get out of there.
Yeah.
And here, you want to get out of here.
I want to keep coming back, man.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe this could be my life when I realize that. Maybe the other ones you don't, you know. So you're going to keep coming back and learning lessons and learning lessons. So that's what I'm about now, you know. I keep one foot firmly on the ground and one foot somewhere else at the moment, you know.
Yeah. What is a challenge for you right now? I mean, everyone has challenges in life, no matter where they're at. And, you know, you have a book coming out. You have a great life that you've let me into the last couple of days. What is still a challenge for you?
Learning is a challenge. Learning. Just want to learn more about, you know, the whole thing we've been talking about what is the reality, what is the purpose, and I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to that, and I'm sure if we speak in a year's time, I'll have stuff to say that's even way out there, you know? And Yates has lost it. Yeah, I have. I'm glad to lose it, you know? I have lost it. I've lost the plot. Because what is the plot? It's the, you know, the vision and the version of reality that we're given through the various channels, you know, which I always knew. I had a feeling that things just ain't right. A lot of things don't make sense, you know? And more I realize that. So that's the journey I'm on. I want to get a better view of the world and try to think independently and realize that we're all connected and everything affects everybody.
Comes back to the tattoo on your front shin. So many things you keep saying.
One love, one heart.
The best advice I've ever received probably wasn't from a person. No disrespect to all the people that gave me advice. It's from a book called The Tao Te Ching. And what the Tao Te Ching talks about is learning to cope with quote-unquote loss or perceived loss or disappointment. You know, taking things as they come and go and not, you know, when I first began, I felt, I'm so talented, I should be this, I should be that, I should sell this many records, I should win these awards, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm the shit, basically. As I got older and some of those things didn't materialize, at first, in the industry, there were people that I felt were, you know, quote-unquote cock-blocking me and this and that. And I used to get really angry. And then I started becoming cool with, you know what? People way more talented than you have been killed earlier in life. You know, becoming philosophical about what you do and don't achieve, and not letting success get to your head and not letting disappointments defeat you. And for me, walking that path and using that book, among others, but that particular book, I feel like really changed the way I look at the world and the way I treat disappointing news when it comes. When anything that isn't related to someone I love being hurt or dying, I kind of pretty much fob off. Okay. If I don't sell enough tickets to a gig, if my album sells enough, you know, I've got economic reality, I've got bills to pay and I've got rent to pay and whatever else, but I try not to let any of that stuff. I'm kind of a bit like...
I think that ego is underrated. I think you have to have any degree of confidence to do things outside the norm. You have to believe that you are able to do things that in many cases haven't been done before.
Interesting.
And it doesn't mean you're an arrogant bastard about it, but I do think that that requires a certain irrational self-esteem that people could, you know, denigrate by calling egotistical or narcissistic, but I think it's a very valuable tool. I think it's a necessary component.
Do you feel the same way, don't you, Brian?
I always say that. I think a little bit of ego is important because otherwise you don't take pride in your work. You don't go out there and, yeah, like you said, do those things that other people aren't doing. You don't cut against the grain. I agree. There's a point where it can get to be too much. No one wants to hang around you anymore. Or you cannot see your own flaws.
Yeah, and I think there's also a difference between self-contained belief and verbalizing. that belief. So, and I think there are tactful ways and very untactful ways to verbalize it. But if you take the humblest guy in the world who's an amazing world-class performer, they're plenty confident. They might not verbalize it in the same way that Muhammad Ali would, or Mark Cuban might. But you have to have that belief, otherwise you would not attempt the types of things they attempt. And then certainly, I think, moreover, to not only survive but bounce back from the inevitable failures and mistakes that you're going to make, you need to have not only enough confidence, you need to have a surplus of confidence, because you're going to take hits along the way.
You always said that strength and conditioning were kind of one of your go-tos. It's something that came natural to you in playing football in high school. But yet you also went really early on into the spiritual piece, and I know you read Osho, and that kind of got you into that active meditation. And I was just wondering, that seems different to me. A lot of guys, when they relate to something physical they're good at, they stick with it a lot of times. And I was just wondering if you ever think back and wonder why you kind of went that way with it, or decided to incorporate both.
Well, I didn't choose to incorporate both. I experienced that my body is my mind. I experienced that the more free and embodied I am down here, the more clever, the quicker, the more sharp, the more intelligent I am up here. There's been enough studies. How many studies we need to know to tell us that exercise is good for the brain. You think better when you exercise, when you breathe. So that has been my experience. The healthier I am physically, the healthier I am in my mind. And it's as old as yoga. If you look at the philosophies of spirituality in the East, they don't exclude the body. You've got Qigong, you got Tai Chi, you got all the martial arts, you got yoga. They recognize that if we're going to get our minds right, if we're going to be fully available mentally and spiritually, then we had better be fully engaged and experiencing what's happening in here, in our body.
Why? I used to train martial arts for a long time, and I finally realized I was training jiu-jitsu and Thai boxing, and I realized there's nowhere else as kind of a mature male in his late 20s where I got to express myself physically. It was like, it really wasn't art for me, because I couldn't dance, or and it wasn't allowed in society to be aggressive. And so when I was doing this, I could yell and punch and kick, and every now and then I would realize, wait a second, I'm doing these carnal things that I'm just repressed to now. I just went and trained today, and I did like this leg workout, and I've been watching some of your videos lately, and I'm like, I didn't scream, I didn't shake around, I didn't do anything cathartic. I just pumped some iron in a quiet kind of way, and then went home and took a shower, and I feel like I missed something there.
Yeah, you missed that energetic release. You missed that full experience of doing the thing, rather than, you see, when we go to the gym and we have a goal in mind and we go through the motions robotically, it robs us of the experience of the actual workout. Think about going to the gym just for the workout, not for the goal. Not so that you could put a check next to the reps and sets that you did, but so that you can really get engaged with what your body wants to express. You said you want to express yourself.
Yeah.
Well, there's no better way. They say that more people have grown enlightened through dance than any other medium. So we're excited about all the new plants that are helping us open up. But did you know that you can have the same experience by dancing ecstatically?
No, and most people wouldn't believe you.
Right.
If you said that dance could get him on another spiritual level. So we kind of rob ourselves of that. Is that the kind of Western way, or is that the mind?
Civilized way.
Civilized way. Okay. So
the way that we can keep you keeping you go to work.
Right. So that's a way, kind of a control method, the mind.
Yeah. Well, right. Again, the body's the mind. Tight bodies, tight mind, and the more rigid and square you are, the more you're manipulated by data and ideas rather than intuition and feeling.
Right. You mentioned affirmations there. It's one of the main things I learned at this seminar, and I actually read my affirmations out loud as I walk down the sidewalk to the tube every morning. And when people walk by me, I try to force myself to say them louder. You like that one?
Yeah.
And just because, so I get it out, and I'm proud of them, and I just manifest them. And if people want to hear me, well, I don't really care, because it helps me just be into those.
Yeah.
Your affirmations. You still say them in the morning?
I say them every night. No, I don't say them in the morning.
Okay.
I used to say them morning when I first got up,
during that same time period that I'm just talking about, the 3, 4, 5 minutes, although it takes me longer because I have 19 affirmations. But I say them before I go to bed with my prayers. I still say my prayers every night. At 70, that's, I don't know how unusual that is. And I'm not a priest or, you know, God forbid. But I mean, I say my prayers and I say my affirmations.
And you have an affirmation for every goal?
No, I have, actually I have more affirmations than I have goals because I have 3 kids. So I have 1 goal and 3 affirmations for that 1 goal because it's for 3 different kids. And now I have a granddaughter, so I've added a 4th affirmation off of the 1 goal. So I have about 7 or 8 more affirmations than I have goals.
Can you give us an example of what might be?
I'm excited every day, enhancing Sally Hall, the love of my life, my wife, be all she can be, and her engaging in something that scares her every day. And as a chartered accountant with multiple degrees, she's risk averse.
Right.
She can look at the numbers and say, there's only an 8% probability that's going to happen. Forget that 8% shit. Pretend it's 80. She'll look, but Dan, I know it's 8. I can't block that out. So that's one of my goals. I'm excited, thrilled that I'm pushing my mentees towards the goal line every day, beyond their comfort zone. And I got a bunch of them. I've got a bunch of kids, you know. I've got, on any given day. I asked you last night, how come I know the 100 business models of my mentees better than they do? Good question. Is it because I want their success more than they do? Yes. Is it because I know the better I know their model, the harder I can push them? Yes. Is it because I know I can make them more accountable, the better I know their business model? Yes. I know their business model. They wish I didn't know their fucking business model so well. Because I can look at their weekly reports and say, that's horse shit. That didn't happen. I'll email with a big red font in between. Do you want to correct that answer? And sheepishly, I can just see him type it. Oh, it must be a mistake. I'm sorry. It's not a mistake. They just thought they got sloppy. They thought they bullshit me. They thought I forgot. I don't forget anything.
You once told me, I was asking you about you writing emails to all these people, and I was like, why, Dan? And you're like, because I see so much potential in
Yeah, I do. It pisses me off. And I see more potential in than their parents see.